We begin our number 2 of Sharp Money here at South Point Casino and Hotel. Dave Ross and Amal Shaw coming at you. Boy, what a show we've got, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We've got Steve Beuerlein joining us now, kind enough with his time. You can follow him on Twitter at Steve Beuerlein. Of course, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, I think of Steve in his Cowboy days, but I know Golden Domers think of him from Notre Dame as well. Steve, great to have you on the program again. I did want to start there, if you don't mind, at Notre Dame. Now that you have Sam Hartman coming in as a transfer from Wake Forest, you know, it's weird when you see the portal and how things work out these days. What do you make of this move for Hartman this year at Notre Dame, and what are the expectation levels like?
Well, I can honestly tell you, first off, thank you for having me on today, fellas. I appreciate it. Always enjoy getting into this kind of stuff. But I think that for the first time in a very long time, I think the Notre Dame faithful have very high expectations, and it's specifically because of Sam Hartman and what he's proven, what he's done in his career at Wake Forest. I know it's not he wasn't doing it in a traditional offense, but I had a chance to meet him about a month ago at a charity golf tournament back in South Bend, and he is so hungry to prove and show that he can do it. His experience, obviously, is second to none. He's a sixth-year senior. And I think that for the first time in a long time, we are really going to have what I think would be considered a chance to have elite quarterback play. And, it's been a very, very long time since Notre Dame has had that level of play out of the quarterback position. And I think this really might become kind of the model as they go after. They did it last year with or 2 years ago with Jack Cohn, and it ended up working out pretty well for them. And I think there's always going to be one of those kind of quarterbacks like Sam Hartman out there that are that fifth year, but sixth-year guys are obviously are thinning out a little bit. But the fifth-year guy who's already graduated, who has that extra year of eligibility left, who's going to understand the value of what that Notre Dame quarterback moniker will do for you for the rest of your life, and the attention and the profile that you get stepping into that role as a fifth-year guy. I think that's going to be kind of the way that Notre Dame competes at the quarterback position, because, as we know, Notre Dame just will not jump into the NIL stuff at the level I think that they would need to in order to get some of the elite quarterbacks around the country. They're not going to play that game. So this kind of a model, I think, works really well for Notre Dame, and I think Sam Hartman is going to have a great year.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the acquisition of Sam Hartman really elevates Notre Dame offensively. People don't realize they didn't watch a lot of Wake Forest games, Dave. Mm-hmm. This kid, no disrespect to Dave Clawson and his coaching staff, he was the reason they were in the position they were in. People don't realize I project too much to the NFL, Steve, and I just don't think people realize how good he's going to be. And I love what you spoke about him there. Want to go to a former team of yours, the Carolina Panthers. They draft number 1 overall, Bryce Young from Alabama. I don't know how much you got to see him play in Tuscaloosa, but if you had a little bit, what are your thoughts on him? And then you are a big guy. Bryce Young, the opposite end of the spectrum from a size perspective. Today's game is a little bit softer, no disrespect to today's players, but can he withstand the hits?
Well, in today's game, I would be an average-sized guy at best. I was 6'2", 225 when I played, and that's considered fairly small in the NFL today. But some of these guys coming out now, and Bryce Young being one of them as well, that's my biggest question mark. I mean, they say he's, 185 pounds, 5'10". That's what he's kind of listed at coming out of Alabama, at least. I have really very little question about him and his ability to, translate at the NFL level from a quarterback knowledge perspective and the ability to grasp concepts and read defenses. And he's done a lot of that throughout the course of his career at Alabama in a very, I think, NFL style offense. Probably more so than many colleges are doing these days. I think his experience in that system under Nick Saban and the offensive coordinators he's had there will translate very well. And I think he can make all the throws. I think he can do all the things required to be a successful quarterback at the NFL level. But I just worry about the durability thing. And I always say this about the undersized guys. I said it about Kyler Murray. The jury is still out on him, I honestly believe. And this is a huge year for Kyler Murray in Arizona. But for Bryce Young, it's not a question of, I think, whether he can play at the NFL level. It's whether he can do it for 17 weeks into the, throughout the NFL season and still be playing at the top of his game if there happens to be an opportunity to play in the playoffs. That's going to be the biggest question. If he can stay healthy, they can find a way to keep him on the field. I think he has a chance to be a real special QB.
I want to go to another one of your former teams, and that'd be the Dallas Cowboys. And again, for Cowboy fans, you've got a spot in our hearts forever. In 91, you step in for Troy Aikman, take the Cowboys all the way to the playoffs. The quarterback now is Dak Prescott, and he's coming off after that injury last year, missed 5 games. And Cooper Rush came in there and did a pretty good job there. In his stead, he's on record. I'm not going to throw 10 interceptions. You know the pressure of not only being a Notre Dame quarterback, but being a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. Is that wearing on Dak? And what type of year do you think Dak's going to have down this year with a star in his helmet?
Well, let me just say this initially about Dak. I like Dak Prescott, but I'm not sold on him, and I never have been. And to me, he is Tony Romo. He is Kirk Cousins. He's a guy that can put up the big numbers. He's got a lot of talent around him. He's in a position that almost any quarterback in the NFL would kill to play in that offense with those skill position guys around him. The opportunity for success is very high, but it's not about the statistics. It's not about the numbers. And we obviously know the documented interception issues he's had the last few years, but his production offensively when he's been healthy has been with the best in the NFL. But when the game is on the line, a big game is on the line, a game that you have to win against a quality opponent, these guys just kind of disappear a little bit. And you can look at the track record through the course of Dak's career as a starting quarterback. The big games, the games that he has to show up, and they have to have him play big in order to win, he does not show up. And that is, I think, the monkey on his back. And he knows that. Believe me, they talk about it in the locker room and in the meeting rooms. And he understands that in order to get that respect and that comfort and that confidence that you're going to be the guy for a long period of time, you've got to start winning those big primetime games, especially late in the season, those games coming down the stretch in December, and give your team a chance to get in the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs. So we'll see. I mean, he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to put up big numbers. He is going to be pressing a little bit to prove, I think, everybody wrong because he knows people are talking about it. But I want to see if he can step up when they need him to step up and win the big games.
I love that breakdown. That is so honest and so accurate.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. Want to go to a team that's on the cusp of potentially getting to a Super Bowl again. That's the San Francisco 49ers. But we see Brock Purdy coming off a UCL injury. From your perspective, how good can he be despite the fact that, he was Mr. Irrelevant from a draft standpoint? Not really that relevant as you get into the second season, but the talent around him is so immense. Does he just have to be like a Trent Dilfer and just manage the game?
Well, I think that he is a kid that potentially has, very, very special qualities. He does remind a lot of people of Joe Montana with his overall demeanor and the way that he kind of moves. He's not a runner per se, but he's very mobile. He's very good at extending plays and throwing the ball on the run. The body of work is still, in my opinion, not enough to make a true judgment as to whether he's going to be the guy long term. And obviously the big question about the elbow. I had the exact same elbow surgery twice late in my career, so I know what he's going through, what he's been through. I think the one mistake that the Niners could possibly make, and I think they need to avoid, is trying to get him out there too early. And I can share a personal example. I had, after my last year in Carolina with the Panthers in 2000, I had to have the same surgery after that season. I got released by the Panthers because of salary cap reasons, and I was so pissed off about that, and I was about ready to retire, but Mike Shanahan offered me the opportunity to go to Denver to finish up my career, and I pushed it a little bit too hard going into training camp. I would have been ready probably for the regular season, but I wanted to show Shanahan that I could be ready for training camp, and I pushed it a little bit too hard, and I tore the elbow again. And so that's what I think the Niners have to be very careful with. They've got to try. We're talking about the same time frame. Surgery right after the season was over. You've got to let that thing get to 100%. He's got to work his way up from a standpoint of the endurance and the conditioning of that elbow. And it may mean letting him sit for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, giving Trey Lance those games. I know they have confidence in Trey Lance as well. Let him see if he can get the team off to a good start. And then after that first quarter of the season, make the decision of who you want to go to and how you want to handle that QB situation.
Absolutely.
But I really do think that Brock Purdy, if he's healthy, has a chance to be a special quarterback. And that system, as you said, the players they've got in that depth chart, it's spectacular. I mean, that would be, I think, the number one destination for any quarterback if they had a choice.
You know the Shanahan system very, very well, Steve. Hey, we really appreciate your time today. By the way, how's the arm today? Can you get out there and still whip it in the backyard?
You know, I could still wing it. There's no doubt about it. I still have the little visions that I could get out there and play in this new NFL. You know, where the quarterbacks don't get hit very much. I feel like I could get out there and throw it if I had a good solid pocket. But shoot, man, I think we all feel that way. I'll take it all the way to the grave. Reality says that's probably not the way it is, but I still think I can get it done.
Steve, great conversation. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the upcoming season. We'll have you back on very soon.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.